I'm a bell Benny Beshu. I tell us ya Beno. Anybody am a bo, Kolawole Olawuyi. A tribute to the mystery man, the late Kolawole Olawuyi, a Nigerian investigative journalist who brought to open events and secrets that were meant to stay in the dark.
Reverend Chukwuemeka, also known as Reverend King, was indicted for setting 6 of his church members ablaze for alleged immoral acts leading to the death of
the number of cases he tracked down and brought to life has not been matched by anyone else around here since his death. Whenever it was 8 p.m. on a Friday and you knew it was going to be a tough night.
Welcome to Black Lenses Podcast, everyday Black stories brought to life through an immersive audio experience. You can listen to Black Lenses Podcast for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you listen to your podcasts. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to our podcast wherever you are listening from.
The Mystery Man. Today's episode is a tribute to the mystery man, the late Kolawole Olawuyi, a Nigerian investigative journalist who brought to open events and secrets that were meant to stay in the dark.
Reverend Chukwuemeka, also known as Reverend King, was indicted for setting 6 of his church members ablaze for alleged immoral acts leading to the death of one.
This man once ruled the airwaves with his Iriaye radio program, and later the Nkombe show on TV. It was normal to see lots of people all huddled around radio sets in street corners, homes and shops to listen to Kolawole Olawuyi whenever he went on air. It was a weekly ritual many grew upon. Kolawole Olawuyi was larger than life. He was an ace broadcaster who introduced a unique dimension to investigative journalism. The number of cases he tracked down and brought to life has not been matched by anyone else around here since his death. No one has had that kind of confidence. Born in Ibadan, Oyo State, to Pastor Williams Olaji Olawuyi. However, his mother was said to be a Muslim. According to him, as a kid, he was incorrigible and rebellious, and consequently suffered some beating at the hands of his father. He also said he had always wanted to be a journalist. Journalism to him was a divine responsibility bestowed on him by God for the purpose of changing his world for the better. Listening to him was scary and exciting. On one hand, you admired his courage. On the other, you feared for his life. Perhaps he had that thought at the back of his mind as he would always close his show by saying, I'm a bell Benny Beshu. I tell us ya Benawo. Anybody am a bo nikan lawo ni debanle. Loosely translated as, we'll always go out to work. It's those that don't want us to return that we won't meet when we return. His life was a mystery. Even though he was a member of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the number of occultic cases and ritual killers he took on and exposed made people believe he was occultic himself. His big break in his profession began when he created the popular radio program Iriaye in 1992, a talk show that presented a new perspective to human stories and challenges. The radio program ran on the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, Ibadan for 30 minutes. His show gained new levels of popularity after he uncovered the story of a certain Okoroja, a self-acclaimed prophet who used black eggs to perform miracles. This popularity eventually led to the TV show Nkombe. The show quickly grew in viewership and followership, and even helped law enforcement agencies in tracking down and apprehending offenders. It was reported that the case of the infamous Chukwuemeka Ezeogu, popularly known as Reverend King, was first brought to light by him.
The court upheld the death sentence handed down to Reverend King by the Lagos State High Court and affirmed by the Lagos Division of the Appeal
Religious
Court.
organizations involved in ritual killings, cases of abused children, and people claiming to be witches to hurt others were other distressful cases he uncovered. Another critical impact of his unusual investigative journalism was the Ajale stories, which unraveled several underground killing houses and eventually led to kidnapper dens being found out and raided by law enforcement units. Heck, there was a woman, Olayinka Oladipupo, who called herself Malaika because according to her, she was God Almighty and created everyone and could do what she liked with anyone until, you guessed right, Kolawole Olawuyi dragged her to light. The man was fearless and appeared invincible and unstoppable. When news of his death broke on the 3rd of March 2007, the reaction from people was not surprising. Many said that the witches and ritualists he exposed had finally gotten him and killed him. But the circumstances surrounding his death remains publicly unknown. Some said he had a feud with a Lagos pastor, and ever since he was said to have battled a strange ailment. Another report had it that the ailment that took his life started after he did a story on a ghost farm tucked away in Benin Republic. Yet another version from his home in Egbeda, Lagos State, disclosed that the death might be connected with the felling of a mysterious tree in the compound where he lived 3 months before his death. The mysterious tree was felled and totally uprooted on his instructions, despite serious warnings from former occupants that nobody should do anything to the tree. Some even said an occultic group he belonged to cut his head off at his death because he belonged to them. In the hopes of putting an end to the rumors surrounding his death, his family held an open casket burial so everyone could see that he died of natural causes and wasn't mutilated or anything. But again, one could say he wrote the mystery about his life expertly while he was alive. You could even argue that he stoked it. Whenever it was 8 p.m. on a Friday and you heard Abatogunde's Shigbao, translated as "Open the Okoti Calabash," start to play on Kolawole Olawuyi's Iriaye, you knew it was going to be a tough night.
Thank you for listening to Black Lenses podcast. Black Lenses is a Loopify media production. If you like our show, we hope you would give us a 5-star rating, leave a review, and be sure to tell your friends. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to our stories right now. For more exciting updates, follow Loopify Media on Instagram at Loopify Media. Don't forget to tell us about the stories you'd like to hear. See you next time.
Script design, sound design, music and audio production by Loopify Media. Original script was written by James Ogunjimi. Script editing and design by Victor Durojaye. Production, music and sound design by John Alimi. Narrated by Lumi.